In this short video, we're going to look at how we can integrate the Apryse WebViewer into a web page using vanilla JavaScript and HTML only. You might prefer, in fact, to use a framework such as React or Vue or Angular. But if we use just HTML and JavaScript, we can end up with very small and simple web pages that contain the WebViewer. To start off, navigate to the Apryse website and click on the Download WebViewer link. At the time of recording, this was version 11.6.1, but we update this on a regular basis. This will download a zip file that we will extract in a few moments. We're going to need to have some kind of web server environment available in order to use WebViewer. If you don't have one already set up, we can install one using npm install -g http server. Next, let's create a folder for our project, which I'm going to call Manual Integration. And we're going to extract the contents of the WebViewer.zip file into this folder. We could extract to any location, but we do need to know where it is because we're going to reference it from our code in a few moments. The zip file contains not just the executables that we need within the lib folder, but also samples and documentation. Let's go back into our project folder and create a new file called index.html. Now let's open that file in VS Code. Okay, now let's copy the code sample from the Getting Started guide into our new file. There are two important things that we need to note. The first is a script element which specifies the location of the WebViewer.min.js file. The second part is a div element, which is where we're going to mount WebViewer when we instantiate it. In this case, I've given it the ID of viewer and specified some styling. Next, let's drop some script in just after that div element that contains the code needed to instantiate WebViewer. This takes a number of options, including the path to the folder where that WebViewer.min.js file is located. We also need to specify a license key, and you can get a trial license from the Apryse website. I'm also going to specify an initial document that will open when WebViewer starts. Finally, I need to specify the ID of the element where I want WebViewer to be mounted. In this case, that div element called viewer. The WebViewer constructor returns a promise, and when that resolves, we can get the instance object. That provides one way that we can interact with the WebViewer API to customize its behavior. All that's left to be done is to save the files, then start the local server using http server -a localhost. You'll now be able to access this web page from within a browser. And you can see already that we have a PDF that opens, and we can interact with that by adding annotations or potentially even editing the content. The Apryse Web SDK, though, offers much more than being just a PDF viewer and editor. With one line of change, we can now make this a DOCX editor. And if you make another line of change and change this to being an iframe rather than a web component, then now we have a spreadsheet editor. So now, with just one component, the WebViewer, we can work with PDFs, DOCX files, and spreadsheets, all with no external dependencies and all within the browser. And we've only just touched on the functionality that's available. So check out all of the other videos and the documentation, or try things for yourself at the Apryse Showcase. Thank you for watching. If you found it useful, click on subscribe and you'll hear when we release new videos. Catch you next time.